my story, Sticks and Stones. To appreciate the story, you have to know a little bit about my background. I was born in Italy. My parents were 40 and over when we came. I was child number 5, the youngest. And being a child of immigrants is very different when you go to school and you deal with other children whose parents are born here. Your parents can't really help you with your homework too well because they can't read or write as well as other parents. Your snacks are different. You know, kids came home and got Oreo cookies and milk. I got little tiny crusts of bread with a tomato squashed on top, olive oil, oregano, and a glass of water. So it's a different life, and you talk to other kids and you don't quite understand it, but it's okay. Well, when we came to this country, the educational system is different here as it was where we were living in Italy, which we came from a very small farm town. And came time to register me for school. Now, I had already learned English. I was 3 when I came here, learned English very quickly. So I've been bilingual all my life. And my mother decided she's too little for kindergarten. So she kept me out. Now, my birthday comes in January, so when I was 6 in September, she decided to take me to get registered whenever. And they didn't want to put me in first grade. They wanted to put me in kindergarten. They had no way of gauging my potential and what I could do. So my mom said, no, she go first grade. My mother was 4'6", 3 feet wide, and a mouth that you just don't want to cross. So needless to say, I got into first grade. But the compromise was, because they had no way of gauging what I could do, they put me in one of the very lowest classes. This was usually the class with troubled children or kids that didn't score very well. You know, it wasn't like today that we understand children better. So it was not very challenging. But I knew that it just so happened that the teacher was a friend of the family, so that kind of helped. But I stayed in that low grade as I continued to go through school. 2nd grade came around, loved my teacher. Still kind of like on the low end, not a great deal of challenge. Came to 3rd grade. Now, during this period, I suffered from 2 very damaging self-esteem issues. My baby teeth did not come out. They had to be dug out by the time I was in the 2nd grade because they were just rotted. It's partially generational, partially care. We were very poor in Italy. We didn't have dentists that we could go to. So they had to be literally excavated. And then my new teeth didn't come in. I didn't have teeth coming in until past the 5th grade. So here I am. I have kinky, frizzy hair, Coke bottle glasses, and no teeth in my mouth. And children can be cruel. So this is how we're starting, and I'm in the dum-dum class, okay? Let's face it. Let's just call it what it is. That's what we called it then. So here we go. I'm 3rd grade. Now the 4th grade, I got a really nice, what I thought was a nice teacher. Today she would be on sexual harassment because she flirted with the boys. And she made fun of the girls, and she absolutely did not like the non-pretty girls, which I was one. So she made my life torture. So here I head towards the 5th grade. And at this point, I don't really remember my emotions at that time. I just kind of got through each year. I was okay. My mother and father went to, the parent-teacher conferences, and they were always told I was a very good kid. I tried my best. Till we got to the 5th grade, and some of my friends know this story. So we get to the 5th grade, and I guess they take those scholastic aptitude tests, and I scored very low. I scored 3rd grade reading and 3rd grade math, but I was in the 5th grade. And I was not in the dum-dum class anymore. I was just like one level up, but it wasn't good. But I also was an extreme introvert. I could not speak out loud. Notice the change. Yeah. Now you can't shut me up. But I couldn't speak out loud. And when the teacher would call on me, I'd freeze. And I could never, if I could give the answer, it would be wrong. I knew the right answer. My paperwork, my homework, my notebook was always correct. But I couldn't get the right answer out. And if they called me to the board, I'd go up there shaking, and for sure I couldn't get it right. And the teacher became concerned. Then the scores came back. So parent-teacher conferences roll around. And I know it's not going to be great. I'm a little nervous this time because I can tell I'm getting worse. You know, I'm going to go back into the dum-dum class if I keep this up. But I didn't know what to do. So, but I was just hoping that my mom would come back and, you know, give me the encouragement. I always heard, just do the best you can do. Do the best. That's all that we want from you. Do the best, okay? And not get left back. So I've accomplished that so far. Came to the 5th grade. And sure enough, my mother comes home, and there's smoke coming out of her ears and her nose. I mean, she looked like a bull. I was like, uh-oh. My father just kind of walks in behind her. And my mother says, Anna. I said, yeah. You teacher say you're retarded. I looked at her. Mr. Castellano called me retarded? Yeah. He said you stupid. You no speaker when he talking to you. And you keep this up, you're going to get left back. And I'm going to put you in the nut house.
Oh my goodness.
Because the teacher say you retarded.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, I couldn't even cry. I was stunned. I said, I couldn't get past Mr. Castellano called me retarded.
Yeah,
He seemed like such a nice man. So I'm saying to my mother, I don't believe he called me retarded. She says, yeah. He say he call on you, you not talk. He make you write on the blackboard, and you not do nothing, you make it wrong. I see you study over here, but what you do? What you think about? No TV. Okay. She says, you get left back, I'll kill you. Now I went from the nut house to I was getting murdered. All right, so I didn't know what to make of it. But then I went, me, I kind of stew. After a while, I'm getting mad. I go to bed that night. I'm really mad. But I'm not mad at Mr. Castellano because he never showed me. He was always very gentle with me and very nice to me. I figured out early on, this was my mother's interpretation of the teacher telling me I probably needed work and needed help.
You're retarded.
That was how she interpreted.
I love your mother already.
So instead of, I didn't know the Lord. I mean, I was born and raised Catholic, but that really didn't mean a lot to me. My mother didn't go to church, so I wasn't forced to go. But eventually, she tells, I go into the class, and I tell the teacher, can you help me? I said, I know I need work, and I don't want to get left back. And I never told them what my mother told me.
I'm going to get murdered.
So in a matter of, he started giving me books to read. He opened up my world of reading. Reading became my escape for most of my life. I went home with books and books and books, and I just couldn't get enough of them. He gave me they used to have these scholastic books in the back where you had to do some problems and practice. I didn't have friends. we weren't raised to have friends, let's put it that way. So I spent most of my time practicing when we had lunch and when we had recess. And I even, sneaked cards home and did work at home. Well, from November when the original tests were given to February when we were retested, I went from third grade to 12th grade math and 12th grade reading and first grade college math. I excelled in everything. I moved to the honor class. 2 years later, I graduated third highest in my junior high. And high school, I graduated number 5 out of 750 students. And I was 1 out of 50 people to get a full scholarship. Wow. Moral of the story for me is what Satan meant for evil, God turned around for good. Amen. Satan was looking to destroy whatever self-esteem I might have had left. But I had enough trust in this teacher to know that he wouldn't have done that to me. I didn't have as much trust in my mother's relationship, but I did understand her communication abilities with being an immigrant was different. And as the years went by, I went back to this teacher and I told him what happened. And he goes, I never called you retarded. And he actually kept documents on people that he really admired because I had made such a change. And in that, he basically had said to my mother that he felt I had some emotional problems, the extreme shyness, that he recommended a counselor. And this all translated into, the teacher said, you're retarded. Of course, years later, my mother never remembered that. That was part of my fantasy land of abuse. But I must have made up this story because it's funny and I love it. She never remembered that, but that's okay. I forgave her over the years. But God used my stubbornness and my anger and used it for me and not against me. Yeah. Because in that anger, I was able to plow forward and become what God wanted me to become and what Mr. Castellano saw as potential. So sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me.